Hey guys, it's Andrew or Feel No Pain, and today I'm doing a review on a game called Ziggurat. This game is a roguelite kind of first-person shooter in a very, very old-school style. What I mean by that is if you've ever played the original Doom or actually the ones that it reminds me the most of, just because of kind of the art style and the darkness of it, is Hexen or Heretic. I mean, these are games that I'm talking way back, but they definitely had a lot of impact on the creators of this game when they were making it. I think they were going for that old school, almost arena shooter style of, like, even before Quake 3 and stuff like that, when things like this were just starting out. But this is that style game, and the reason I say roguelite is because it's a very sort of the definition of a rogue-like game are permadeath, procedurally generated worlds, and this has that. It's just not the same because of its sort of like old school first person shooters perspective and everything. But it does have very similar qualities in the fact that if you die, your character's gone, you have to start over. But what works in your favor is you gain these items as you go through, and you can actually unlock new people from doing challenges and things like that. And every time you go through the game, you have a little bit of extra stuff helping you. You can, like I said, you can change characters and all that, and they have different abilities or different not powers, but they have different strengths. And as you can see here, at the very beginning, I picked up this ice spell. Not only are the worlds procedurally generated, but the weapons you get are as well. You start with just your little magic wand, and at the beginning, there's always some sort of ability. But there's 3 extra slots. One is for spells. One is for... well, you'll see later. The 4th slot is for... It's to me, it's kind of like... it seems like it's like mechanical things. Like one's like a gun, and then I get like a bomb later. And I think the 3rd one's for staffs, which I think are generally like wide area effect abilities. But that aside, you get 1 at the beginning of each level, and it's completely randomized. So at this time I got the freeze spell. And at the beginning of the next level, instead of getting one of the other items that you can put on your 3 or your 4, I could get another spell, which would mean that I only have my wand and a spell to use for that 2nd level instead of having a 3rd thing as well that I can use. And you can see over on the right, those are the mana levels, the 3 little bars. There's the blue one and the orange one, and the one that's completely empty. And those are the 2, 3, and 4. So right now my freeze spell, I've got full mana for, but the other 2 I don't, which don't matter because I don't have things for them right now. But yeah, it's the kind of game that can really, it can be difficult if you have some bad luck. It can be really, really tough actually, because you could go 5 levels and just keep getting spells and only have 2 things to work with. But it's punishing for sure, and I'm only playing on normal, like the normal difficulty. There's much harder ones that you can do to really challenge yourself. I haven't played a whole lot of this game. I've played 1 run through until I died, and then I played this little bit right here. And it's kind of hard for me to do a review, not because I don't understand the game or how it works or what it is, but it's because I've had the game for 3 months, and these are the only 2 times I've played it. It's definitely not a bad game, and as far as bringing me back to the style of those old games like Heretic and Hexen and Rise of the Triad, those like really old school arena shooters, it definitely does. It reminds me of it so much, where everything's, fired from the hip, and you've got this little crosshair, and everything aims perfectly, and you can do this weird, crazy strafe moving and jumping and running and everything like mad, and you're super fast and fast-paced and action-oriented. And I always miss those games. Those were from my childhood. I mean, I'm 32, so that was, probably my teens. That was probably the early mid-90s. So a lot of that stuff, well, I guess early 90s even, but as you can see here, there's bosses at the end of each too. And how it works is you have to find the key to unlock the boss. And this one, there was a few rooms between, but since it's all procedurally generated, it can actually be kind of hilarious how that works. I believe one of either the second or third floors, you'll see that where the room I start in, the next room is the one that has the key, and the one after it is the one with the boss. And I could, if I wanted to, completely ignore the rest of the entire map and just keep on going. Granted, it would be harder because I wouldn't level up. You can see the experience bar at the bottom, that little sort of yellowish, orange, bronzy bar. So you do level up, and every time you level up, you get a card, but it's basically like a random perk. It can be, gain levels faster, or have more mana for this ability. I think the first few times I take the gain levels faster, just because it snowballs pretty quick. If you level faster, you get more perks, but you can get more health, you can get more, just about anything. And so sometimes these levels take 5 minutes. That one I was talking about could have easily taken literally 2. And sometimes they can take like 20 minutes to half an hour, depending on how big the place is. And I love the way they've done this, because it's not just room with monsters, room with monsters, room with monsters. Yeah, here it is. Grab the portal key, go into the next room, and there's the boss. And this one I do actually decide to go explore a little after this is over, just because, why wouldn't you? I think. I don't know. I can't remember. But either way, it is pretty amazing that you get to, I don't know, choose your own adventure, I suppose. You really get to make it as you go. Everything's kind of, since it's different every time, you get to just kind of like, if after this you wanted to go explore the rest of the place, cool, and you get more points for doing that at the end. The number of rooms you clear, you get more points, the number of monsters you kill and everything. So it's a very simplistic game. It really it's just this style combat over and over and over, but there's a lot of good monsters. There's a lot of different monster types, and they do things that you need to eventually learn. And as you can see with this boss, I didn't immediately realize that, I guess, Audrey, so her little protective shell had to be opened before I shot the little piece in the middle to do damage. I was wasting a little bit on just firing. But yeah, there's a lot of cool mechanics. There's a lot of cool, especially boss mechanics, but some of the individual creatures have really interesting things too. And a lot of which I haven't figured out yet. There's on the third level on this, there's these skeletons that have big shields, and it still shows that when you hit them, it shows them blink like you're hitting them, but I can't tell if I'm doing a lot of damage through the shield. So at one point I tried using my freeze spell to freeze them, either when their shield was down and they were stomping the ground, or using it and then going behind them and hitting them, and it seemed like they died in one hit every time when I did that. So I don't know if they were just already low on health, or if I, found out that it actually helps to kind of bypass their shield. And like I said, even after playing it, I'm not positive. It's a technique I used a few times, but I hadn't really played enough to be absolutely sure that that was working in my favor and I wasn't just killing them normally. But learning those things is kind of what keeps a game like this interesting, because as you can see, otherwise it's really just kind of like jumping in circles and shooting stuff. I think one of the reasons that I probably haven't picked it up a whole lot is because before I got this new computer and started doing videos, this was like one of the first games I got on Steam when I first got Steam. It was cheap. It was actually recommended by Total Biscuit, and hilariously, one of the Steam reviews I read was talking about the same thing. Honestly, one of the only negative reviews I read on the Steam page, which was pretty amazing. But yeah, that was it. I was just looking for stuff to play because I'd gotten Steam, and that just happened to be what was up at the time. This came out in October of last year, so it was probably in November sometime that I picked it up. And I played it, but then I got my new computer, and I started getting new games, and I started figuring out how to make these videos, and I worked on a lot of stuff, so I just kind of got away from it. And I guess for me, only time will tell if I go back and play more of it. But it's for what it is, it's done well. It's definitely not the style of game I generally prefer. I've said this time and time again. You guys know I'm more of a casual player. There was a point in my life when I took Call of Duty like super serial, and had to have my 3.0 KD, and if I didn't, I would super rage and all that. And I guess everyone's been there at some point in their life with something. If you're a gamer, some games made you want to do that, whether it be a shooter or World of Warcraft or something where you would just get so furious if you weren't like the best. But that's not me anymore, and this game kind of caters to the mindset that you're the only reason to really keep going past an hour worth of play is to constantly beat yourself, to get better times, to get more kills, to get higher levels, to collect all the artifacts that you can, or all the upgrades or whatever. And like I said, not being my kind of game because of that, I don't know how much I'm going to pay for it or play it, but how much I paid for it is also important. It's $14.99, which for probably the amount of use I'm going to get from it is a little high. By the time all is said and done and I've forgotten this game exists, which don't take that as a bad thing, because eventually we all forget that games exist. It's just the way things are. We forget that this game that we thought was cool for a few hours is... Then someone reminds you a few years later. But by the time it gets to that point, and I'm no longer playing this game at a reasonable amount, I don't know if I can say that I will have gotten my $15 worth for me. So I've put like 2.5 hours into it, including recording for this video, and if that's all I play, yeah, I wouldn't have minded paying $4.99 for it, for that amount of time, for the experience, because the graphic style is really cool, even though it's very sort of goofy, wand in hand, and I know a lot of people make jokes about games like Call of Duty, or games like this, where if your vision was really there, your arm would be like coming out of the side of your face. But it does harken back to that old style, but the graphics on it are absolutely gorgeous. And as you may have seen from me putting the specs on the screen earlier, it doesn't take a super high-powered computer, but it definitely takes more power than you might expect from something that's, emulating a 1990s era game. So they've definitely done their homework, and they've updated the graphics without changing the style. And like I said, I guess for the sake of making a video on it, plus the gameplay I got, plus just the little bit of nostalgia this brought me, because, God, if there was any way I could find, like, Heretic or Hexen and play it now, I probably would go back and do that now. Just because this makes me so happy. But it's gonna have to be a personal choice thing. What you really need to know is that this game is punishing. You don't regenerate health. You can get health back from like drops from monsters, but if you die, that's it. You start over. You really have to be in the mindset that you want to. You're okay with dying. That if it happens, if you run into a pack of things you're just not equipped for, which can happen because you don't have your. It's not like Doom or something where right before you meet a new enemy, you get a weapon that deals with that enemy well. There's times when you could have nothing but the little fire grenade that you get as your 4 slot. That could be the first thing you pick up. And the entire level could be flying creatures, which are really hard to hit with that. It's just the way it is, and it's punishing, and it's not so punishing that I think it's badly made. But for me, it's punishing enough that I get frustrated with it. And knowing that I could restart and get a whole new game, I'm the type of person that, even though, like I said, I'm a casual player, I would, restart it a couple times probably. If I keep playing it, I'll probably get to the point where I'll restart a couple times and try to get something I haven't used before, as opposed to just enjoying it for the way it is, because I want to experience something new. I want to sort of enjoy something new because I know I'm not going to be, playing for hundreds of hours and competing with all my times and scores and whatever else. I just want to kind of see everything and then call it a day and call it a game and be done with it and be happy with that. So I mean, for me, the time value or the cost value is. It's mediocre. If they'd charged $60 for this game, I'd say it was ludicrous, or even $30. But 15 isn't terrible. 15 is a relatively low number in the way of games. It's a quarter of the cost of a full AAA release, and I can't argue with that because I know there's plenty of people out there that would happily pay $15 for this. And as far as the one thing that does help is that the time value of this game is really good. You can start it up and play a level or two and save your game and come back to it later. So if you don't have a whole lot of time, that's okay. It's really easy just to do a level and be like, oh, that was fun. I killed some monsters. I saw a boss I've never seen before. I collected some stuff. I leveled up a couple times. And every time you're working towards a better next game. So even if you do die and have to start over, eventually you'll unlock characters and you'll unlock a variety of things, and that'll make your next games, make you more powerful. So I see this, I'd say, in the genre, which is limited. I don't know of a whole lot of first-person shooter roguelikes, but as far as this goes, they've executed it fantastically. I just don't think it was really for me. But even as you can see, this is a half-hour video, and I complete 3 levels, which I'm going to the 3rd one now. Believe. Yeah, I don't know. Could watch the video all day, but you'll see on there. But yeah, so as far as the time value is really good because, like I said, it's easy to pick up. Cost value, that's where you're gonna have to determine for yourself. If this looks like something that you could really get into and just push yourself and keep going and keep dying, and or if you get lucky, beating the game and starting over. The game is actually short-ish. There is a final boss, but you can still start over. So that's okay. That's actually kind of the purpose. And if you think that's something you'll like, I guarantee that you're not going to find a better version of this game out there. You're not going to, for $15, you're not going to find anything that resembles this that's better at all. And that's kind of where I have to leave it. This is the first game that I've reviewed that I'm a little unsure about, because to be honest, I'm going to mostly try to play games that I think I'll enjoy, and therefore a lot of my reviews will probably be positive. That doesn't really mean I'm incapable of having negative opinions. It just means with my limited time and money, I can't try everything out. So I'm probably going to end up choosing to buy games on Steam that I really think I'll like, and therefore I'll end up reviewing a lot of games that I think I'll like. And luckily for me, and I kind of did this on purpose, because I can't buy every AAA game, every game the day it comes out, not all my reviews are current games, so that's okay. And as you all know, and as I've stated, and even as I stated at the very beginning of doing these reviews, the whole purpose of me doing these was that to let people in on games that were not necessarily new. Games that have been around a little while, but are still worth playing, because it seems like a lot of them fade into sort of obscurity 6 months in. Like, they may get a big rush at the beginning, but then whatever happens, something else comes out that's new and interesting, and everyone forgets about them. So, as far as this game goes, regardless of who you are, unless you're super hardcore, want to max everything out, and that's just kind of like what you do in games, which if that's the case, this is the game for you, because you can replay it over and over and over and over. But unless that's you, I would say wait for this to go on sale, which I'm sure it will eventually. Wait for it to go on sale, and just pick it up and play it occasionally. Play it whenever, the mood strikes you. And you can probably hear my cat in the background. But play it when the mood strikes you, and don't worry about the fact that you may have paid $3.49 or $7.49 for it, because I think that's the kind of game it's going to be for most people. Just sort of a fun little, like, oh, maybe you've been playing, I don't know, the new Elder Scrolls game when it comes out, fingers crossed. Maybe that's a thing you've been playing for like 2 weeks straight, 8 hours a day, and you just need a break, and you just need something fun and something a little goofy and a little sort of completely different. And that's this. And if that's what you need, then yeah, buy this on sale. I wouldn't recommend paying $15 for it just to play casually, but it's if it's something you even think you'll be remotely interested in, yeah, I would definitely pay the money to or pay a smaller sum of money just to have it sort of on my computer and have it be there whenever I felt like playing it, which I hope will be a bunch. I hope there's one day that I just pick this up and lose 6 hours of my life, because I feel like that's a possibility, but I don't feel like that's a certainty. So, we'll see. And as far as mixed reviews go, this is about as close as I've gotten so far. So, I'll tell you guys that this is Ziggurat. It's by Milkstone Studios. It's available on Steam for $14.99. If it looks interesting to you, hey, pick it up. It's done extremely well. It's smooth. It's fluid. It's interesting, but I can't say it's going to be for everyone. But if you think you'll like it, be my guest, and feel free to come back to this video and comment and tell me what an idiot I am for not giving it the highest praise in the world, because I won't try to be perfect. I'll just see things the way I see them. So feel free to do that. But it's definitely fun. The amount of time I've spent with it has definitely been fun. So I'll at least say that much. Either way, I'm going to let you guys watch the last 5 minutes of this just so you can see like the end of the third level and another boss, and make some decisions for yourself and see if you want to get it. But this is This is Feel No Pain. This is Andrew, and I'll see you guys in the next video.